Hey YouTube, how's it going? So I'm replying to a comment that I made on YouTube uh, about the rotator cuff tear, right? Specifically to you, Sharma. You were asking how much time will it take to heal? So I wanted to address this question before I got into some of the exercises I was shown. I do plan on showing some things that help me get back on track in my fitness journey and back into the gym. So how much time will it take to heal? That really depends on your injury. For me, it wasn't, I had a very minor tear in my rotator cuff, and it was mostly a rhomboid strain, where your rhomboid is, right? So it's like right there. I don't know. I'm like trying to show you guys. It's like right around there. And I got this injury from doing the bench press. I put way too much weight, and well, not so much. It wasn't so much the weight as much as it was my form. But I'll get to that later in the video. As far as how much time, to answer your question, how much time it will take to heal, that really depends on you and your injury and how severe it is. I am not, full disclaimer, I am not a physical therapist at all. I am not a physical therapist. I'm just someone who went and saw a physical therapist, For me, to this day, it still hurts. I got injured around early 2023. It's been about a year and a couple months now. About a year and 7 months, I'd say, almost 2 years now since this injury. I still feel it, but with physical therapy, what they taught me was how to work around the injury, how to strengthen the muscles around my rotator cuff and shoulders, and ultimately how to use proper form in the gym. Now, for those of you who are severely injured and have, more of a severe rotator cuff tear, or rhomboid strain or what have you, whatever injury it is, it might be way longer for you to heal, I can't say, because I'm not, like I said, I'm not a physical therapist. My injury was minor, so if you are going through a severe tear, I pray for you. I hope you guys do, get healed. You might need surgery, you might not. I can't answer that. Is another question you had was, is physical therapy better than surgery? That's really up to your physical therapist. I don't know. I know physical therapy worked for me, and it didn't work immediately either. It wasn't like I went to physical therapy, they showed me a move, and then the next day I was healed. It took about 3 months, I would say, from doing certain exercises. One big major thing was getting the scar tissue and opening up my rhomboid and shoulder, right? And doing flexibility drills and things of that nature. Right, so let me get into some of the exercises here. I'll show you. I'm going to start with the ball. Right, it's just a rubber ball. You could probably get it from Walmart, Target, what have you. So this really helped break down that scar tissue in my shoulder, and I think this is ultimately what got me past the pain, because I couldn't do push exercises, think of like push-ups, bench press, anything that you literally do this motion and there's pressure. Like just going up against the wall and like pushing on it hurt a lot, you know. And this ball here really got rid of that maybe pinched nerve or strain or scar tissue or whatever it was back there. So what I was showed, I'll show you guys, was take this ball, go against the wall here, try to place the ball relatively in the area that's bothering you, right? And you would just go up and down. And it might be a little crunchy, right? I'm crunching right now. Actually, kind of, like I said, I'm still, it still hurts around that area and I can still feel the injury, but the injury doesn't affect me as much. And that's because I've strengthened my muscles and things around that area as well. But this really, it should hurt a little, or maybe it shouldn't. You're gonna feel it, is what I'm saying. Is you're gonna feel it in your shoulder, especially if you have an injury there. And just do this for a little while. You know, you really get in there, up and down, left and right. I highly encourage you to wear a shirt or something while you're doing this. Something else my physical therapist told me was you might get a little bruised, just because, you know, you're putting this like rubber ball into your back. You know, you shouldn't be like, you know, like trying to like force your back to the point to where it's just excruciating, but you're just kind of rolling it out, right? This exercise really helped me out a lot, and I would do this probably like 3 or 4 times a day. I can't remember when I went to physical therapist. Is about probably, I know I put it in the comments somewhere that I went to a physical therapist 6 months from my initial comment, and so whenever that was, and I just did this 3 or 4 times a day for about a minute or two. I haven't really been doing it recently just because, you know, I don't feel like it's necessary as much anymore. But yeah, another exercise, he gave me one of these bands, these rubber bands, right? It's tied in a knot here, right? Make sure you got a good knot going there. So these are resistance bands. I can't remember how many pounds of resistance or whatever, what have you. But you take your hands like this, and you're going out, right? Going out. Think of going out like that. And you're taking your shoulders, you're rolling them back. You're gonna go up to the wall. See my forearms, right? You're gonna place your forearms. Now imagine the band here. Just do it like this. You're doing this, and you're putting it against the wall flat. So I'll show you, right? All right. Going like this, starting, yeah, right about here. Good. Not too low, not too high, just kind of height of your eyes there, and you're just gonna push out and go up and down like this. And this is a workout. This is honestly a workout, and you'll probably get tired. I did about 10 reps of this, about 2 to 3 times a day, throughout the day. Even at work, I'd be at work, go up to the wall and do this, and my coworkers would be like, "What the heck are you doing?" You know, I'm just trying to get better, brother, you know. But yeah, do this a couple times. But like I said, you're just going out like this. You're not trying to like go too far up, but just enough pressure, right? Just enough pressure to where you're feeling it, and you're going up like that. Yeah, and then down, right? Another thing, let's see. So this, right? It's just another band. Here, I'll use this chair. Probably don't want to use a chair. I would use a doorknob. So I would shut my door, and on the doorknob on the outside, I would wrap this around the doorknob, right? So I wrap it around the doorknob, shut the door, and then if there was like some leeway, grab it here, and you're just going out like this, and you're just literally pulling it. Another thing you could do is if you go to the gym, or you just go to the gym, find a pole, maybe a light pole, you know, people might stare at you or whatever, what have you. You know, just throw it around, whatever, right? Get a nice hook in there, and then you're literally just pulling like this. And you're doing that about 5 to 10 times for a couple sets, right? But yeah, you know, that really helped warm up my rhomboids, you know, my back, my shoulders, you know, things of that nature. But yeah, once I started doing that, you know, it started healing, I think, within that time frame. Initially, I don't think I was healing at all when I initially got injured prior to physical therapy. I was still trying to go to the gym and push as much weight as I was prior to my injury. It was not going well. It was not going well at all. I got extremely weak, extremely weak, and it sucked. Yeah. Another thing my physical therapist told me to do, he said to not stop going to the gym, but he said don't do exercises that are causing pain, right? And that's like kind of weird to hear, because it's like, oh, but I'm injured, everything hurts. What he was meaning is like, so bench press was what hurt me, right? I still did the bench press even during the physical therapy, but I was not doing weight that would hurt, if that makes sense. There'd be a little discomfort. Like I said, there's still discomfort now. I still have discomfort now, but I can work through the pain. It's not so painful to where I have to stop. And that's because I'm using proper form, and the muscles around like my back and my shoulders are a lot stronger now. Yeah. So it'll probably still hurt or be discomfort, but like if it's killing you and it feels like you're just like about to tear your shoulder off or something, you know, I would stop. You know, and that's what he told me. He said, don't push through excruciating pain. Like there should be discomfort, right? So like if let's say you're benching 225, right? I would do like 135 pounds at max. And I know for some of you guys, that's like, oh my gosh, 135 pounds. How are you even working out? And to that I say, you're not, you're not really working out. You're not really doing strength training in that aspect. But what you're doing is you're getting your body used to doing this movement again, you know, with proper form, right? You're not just going in there, you know, shoulders curled and you're like repping it out. But you're really just, for me, I was really focusing on the form, not so much how much weight I was pushing, right? But yeah, those were the exercises I was showed. I also would encourage you, before you do any push workout, and I do this every time now, I warm up my back, my shoulders, and I warm up my rhomboids, and that can be like with the bands, right? You can use the bands, or literally just taking like a 2.5 pound plate and just going up and down like this, you know, before you start your working sets. Obviously, you should be doing warm-ups before you start your working sets of your workout. You shouldn't just be going in there like, all right, today I'm benching 225, so let's throw 225 on there. You should not be doing that. You should be warming up to that weight. And that was something I didn't realize until recently, until I got the physical therapy training. Yeah, I hope that encourages you. You know, I hope you don't lose hope. And I wanted to address, you know, the hope aspect of this healing process as well. But I'll get to that in a minute if you want. From now on, the video will be mostly about hope and the peace that I got throughout this trial. But anything before this timestamp will be the exercises and, you know, what my physical therapist told me and stuff of that nature. Yeah. All right. See you guys in a minute.
Hey YouTube. Okay, so I wanted to, expand a little bit further on what I meant by hope, right? So my initial comment on the video was that I was losing hope. I was losing hope in this injury. And that was true. That was very true. I was in a very uh, important time in my career, being in the Army. I was in a transitionary zone, going to my next unit, and I was unable to perform uh, physically because of this tear. And I mean that in the most literal way. A lot of times, especially in the military, it's like, oh, push through it. This was something that I could not push through, and I have pushed through many other injuries throughout my time, and this was something that I could not perform to a certain level set by leaders or others. But I wanted to go over what got me through this injury, and the answer, spoiler alert, is Jesus. It was Jesus who got me through this injury, but I wanted to go through what I mean by that. So, label it called hope. Hope, right? We're going to suffer in this life. Um, we are going to suffer, but I have a hope in Jesus that my suffering and everything will be worth it, right? So I wanted to pull this slide up. So what is your hope in? Hebrews 6:19 through 20. We have this hope as an anchor for the soul, firm and secure. It enters the inner sanctuary behind the curtain. So this hope that they're referring to in 6:19, or in Hebrews 6:19, is in Jesus, right? Um, Jesus is my anchor. You know, uh, he he got me through this injury. You know, uh, I was extreme. I was in a very sad state, right? Like I said, I was in a transitionary time. Arriving to my new unit, um, and I was really sad. I was really sad. I felt like I couldn't perform like the others. I felt like I was less than. You know that. I was just gonna be this way forever. And that's semi true. Not the sadness thing, but my injury. I'm still hurt. Like I said earlier in the video, I still have pain. It's still there. You know, I'm able to perform in the gym. I'm actually way stronger, way stronger than I was prior to the injury, and that was because I was taught how to uh, perform these exercises. Um, you know, I really felt like I was a burden, especially to others inside my company, but I persevered through my faith in Jesus, you know, and I feel like Jesus, not only do I feel like, but this is the truth, Jesus gave me, he gives you a purpose more than going to the gym, more than just doing good at your job, more than being a soldier, right? I am more and you are more than your vocation or whatever path you've chosen in life. You are more, you are more than that, and um, if you seek validation through your vocation, and or for me example, if I seek validation through the army, you know, uh, really I was not doing well, right? Because I couldn't perform. As a soldier, you're really gauged on how you can perform, and how well you do compared to others, and that depending on how well you do, you're either better or you're worse, which in Jesus is not the case at all. So, I'm going to go to the next slide here. Yeah, things might not get better. Um, what I mean by this, so I got this injury and it lasted a long time, like a really long time. I was not able to do, like I keep saying this, I was not able to do any push exercises, anything that required pushing, and push-ups in the military, push-ups is literally the staple of being a soldier. Like they just look at you cross-eyed, like, what do you mean you can't do push-ups? That's like literally the thing to do in the army is do push-ups. um, but I couldn't do it because it just was physically uh, too excruciating. And when I say excruciating, I mean like stab yourself in the back and do a push-up while someone's stabbing you in the back, and that's what it felt like. Um, but yeah, and my strength was just not there. But here I'd like to point out this verse, John 16:33. Jesus says, I have told you these things so that in me you may have peace. In this world you will have trouble, but take heart, I have overcome the world. So you are going to suffer in this life, whether you're a Christian, monk, Buddhist, whatever have you, you're going to suffer. There is going to be trouble, trials, times of hopelessness. Jesus is encouraging us here that we may have peace. Um, so like I said earlier, right? All I had was just sad thoughts, self-pity, so much self-pity. And I'm telling you, self-pity is such a waste of time. Now I know that now, and I'm learning more and more of that now as I grow more and more. Um, but when I sought Jesus and I knew that Jesus saw my pain and saw my suffering, I knew it was being validated. And I know Jesus and God, they do not take my pain and tears and suffering lightly. They don't think it's funny. They really, Jesus draws near to the brokenhearted, to the weary, and that gave me peace. Just knowing that Jesus cares, But yeah. Um, just reading a little bit more. I knew I was injured. I knew I couldn't compete or perform, but I put my hope in Jesus, not only to be healed, but that he might show me something better or show me a new purpose. Um, so what I mean by this is I figured my purpose was uh, to be able to perform better than others, right? As I stated earlier, I am in the army, and I was a prior infantryman, right? And in the infantry, it's pretty much just for those of you that don't know, and this isn't actually just exclusive to the infantry, but you are judged by how well you can perform, uh, and I mean that in the most verbatim way that I just said it. Like you are judged by how much weight you can push or lift or how fast you can run, especially how fast you can run. It's crazy to me that your worth is you could be the not the smartest person in the world, but if you run fast, you are now considered the smartest person in the world to your leadership. Um, you know, um, but yeah, but I put my hope in Jesus, not to be healed, but sorry, I just said that. But what happened was in this sentence, I'm going to go over it. The especially the line, the new purpose. I should rephrase that. I just looked to what my purpose was, and that's to be what Jesus calls me to be, which is to be a fisher of men, to be a leader, to be like Jesus, right? To be loving, to be kind, to stick out this, trial, you know, to go through this time of injury and trial and still look to Jesus and come out and persevere, and come out through the other side stronger, you know. Then that might not mean physically, I if if I never got that physical therapy, and God bless that my physical therapist, and I never got treated, I probably would still be in the same state, if not worse, you know. Um, but Jesus pulled me through that, and it took a lot of humility and just accepting where I was, a lot of accepting of where I was, you know. And I state here what I found was to be humble, like just humbling myself and accepting the fact that I am injured. I cannot perform like others, Leadership may look down on me, they might think I'm faking or that I am exasperating this injury, um, you know, but either way, like, I just had to accept the fact that I was injured and I could not perform like others. So what I did was I just moved forward in faith in Jesus. But what I mean by that is moving forward in the fact that Jesus is hearing my problems. He's hearing my pain. He's hearing my cries, And I know that my tears are not falling on the ground but in his hands, you know. So I hope this is encouraging you guys, to seek Jesus in that same way. Let's go to the next slide. Examples of people suffering in the Bible. Paul. I wanted to talk about Jonah, but I feel like Paul, and the reason I chose Paul was because Paul was quite literally called to suffer. In Acts 9:16, Jesus tells Ananias to go speak to Paul, and Jesus says, "I will show him how much he must suffer for my name." That goes pretty hard to me. Jesus quite literally saying, like, you are going to suffer for me, which is kind of scary, but it also feels really encouraging to hear the creator of the universe give you a purpose, and that purpose for Paul was to suffer, and he did it. Paul did it. Paul suffered for Jesus, for sure. Paul suffered for, his faith in Jesus, yes. But go down into this slide here. Suffering brings us closer to God, and sometimes it will be the only way we will turn to God. So, sometimes we need to be humbled, For me, it was in this case. Now, am I saying God caused this injury? No, I am not saying that. Actually, I think I'm the one that caused this injury because of my pride and ego and putting way too much weight on the bench press, and then I got injured. So that is the summary of how I got injured. But through that suffering, I could have chosen to just stay in a state of sadness and self-pity. I really could have, and that goes for any situation that I go through in life. Or I can look to God, see what He has to say about my suffering, see what He has to say about my purpose, you know, and that's what I chose to do. It took a little time, but that's ultimately what I ended up choosing to do. Um, I have been blessed so much through this injury. I have been growing in knowledge and love of Christ. Like I said, I really did turn to God, throughout this time. Um, and God blessed me so much just through the peace and His presence and knowing that it's going to be okay. And what I mean by that is it's going to be worth it, because I pretty much lost hope that I was going to recover. Which, spoiler alert, I did recover. I can go to the gym and do what I love to do now, but at that time, I did not think I was going to recover. Um, but yeah, I consider it a good thing that I got injured. I do, because I learned to fully put my pain, sadness, and injury to God. You know. But yeah, I just wanted to, throw this out there to you guys, through to anyone who's going through an injury or really any, trial in their life, to encourage you to look to God and see what God has to say about your suffering, because He has a lot to say, and He wants to comfort you. God is a God. We have a God of comfort and love, and I think if you really, really look for that, that is what you will find, and God will show you, but yeah, I hope you watch the rest of the video. I hope you feel encouraged, and if you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments, and I hope I could address them. But good luck. Stay strong. Don't stop training. When I was injured, I didn't stop training. I just started doing different exercises. I'd focus on my legs, and I'd still try to do things that I enjoyed. I used to hate squats. Now I love squats. They're my favorite. So there are pros and cons, right? But yeah, good luck out there, and God bless. God loves you guys.